$100 MBA Show, the business podcast that breaks down business to its simplest form with our daily 10-minute business lessons for the real world. I'm your host, your coach, your teacher, Omar Zenhom. I'm also the co-founder of the $100 MBA, a complete business training and community online over at 100mba.net. And today's lesson is a must-read lesson. In our must-read lessons, I share with you a book that I've read that has influenced me as an entrepreneur, has impacted me in some way. I like to share with you my takeaways from the book and why you should read it as well. Today's must-read is How I Lost $170 Million by Noah Kagan. The subtitle to this book is My Time as Number 30 at Facebook. Some of you are very familiar with Noah Kagan's work. He is the founder of AppSumo and SumoMe, which has featured as a sponsor here on the show, and Noah has delivered a great guest teacher lesson here in the past. Noah has become a friend of mine in the last few years. I've learned a lot from him, and I recently picked up his book, How I Lost $170 Million, and gave it a read. I gotta be honest, when I picked up the book, I wasn't expecting to learn a whole lot. Not that Noah's not a good writer or a great entrepreneur, it's just that I know Noah so well. I've heard a lot of interviews with him, I've gotten to know him over the years, and that's why I was so pleasantly surprised when I read the book, how much I learned. And that's why I wanted to cover it as a must-read episode on the $100 MBA Show. This is a fantastic book to give you a glimpse of the early days of Facebook, how it was to work there, the lessons he learned working there, as well as the lessons he learned through failure. If you don't know, Noah was fired from Facebook. And if any of us have gone through a firing or having to let go of a business or something like that in the past or are currently going through that, his experience and the way he's dealt with it and the way he's processed it is a really good model. I can't wait to get into all the lessons I learned in this book, so let's get down to business. Today's episode of the $100 MBA Show is sponsored by Google. An ad on Google can help your business find new customers at the exact moment they're searching for what you have to offer. Talk about a targeted customer. Go to g.co/100MBA to get $75 credit after you invest $25 in your first campaign. That's g.co/100MBA. The author of How I Lost $170 Million in Noah Kagan was employee 30 at Facebook, which is the primary focus of this book, but he also was employee number 3 at Mint, huge financial tech company, was also the founder of Kickflip, a payments company for social games. And in 2010, Noah founded AppSumo, which is daily deals for entrepreneurs. He's also the founder of SumoMe, which is a software company. So to say the least, Noah's had a lot of experience. And he starts off this book with one of his most traumatic experiences, getting let go at Facebook. The book opens up with the day he's actually fired. He talks about all the things he's gone through, the devastation he had to go through, how it completely changed his life because when he left Facebook, he had to leave everything because he was living with people that were working at Facebook. His phone that he used was given by Facebook, so he had to let that go. And basically, he felt like the biggest disappointment of his life. Now, to put you out of your misery, when he says how he lost $170 million, Noah was at Facebook for 9 months. And part of his deal at Facebook is having 0.1% of equity in Facebook. But you don't actually get that equity if you're let go before a year. I believe there's some sort of terms there. So at the time he wrote this book, back in 2014, 0.1% of Facebook is valued at $170 million. Crazy, insane, I know. But Facebook is one of the largest companies and websites on the planet. It's up there with Google. So you can imagine how devastated he was when he was fired and as the company grew and how he saw it just take off the years after. So he kind of paints the picture at the start there, and then he works backward, talks about how he actually started at Facebook, where he started before that. He actually worked at Intel beforehand. And he actually walks you through exactly his interview process with Facebook, the people he's met, the top dogs up there, and their strengths and their personalities. And he walks you through what he learned on a daily basis from a company where he says everybody is smarter than you. It was like a new experience for him because he's never really been in an environment where everybody's just outsmarting him. Every time he would come up with an idea where he thought was brilliant, it was challenged by somebody more brilliant. Now, it's not to say that Noah didn't make an impact on Facebook. He mentioned some things like he's one of the pioneers of the status update and Facebook pages. These are pillars of Facebook. But I want to share with you a few lessons that I learned from the book. Number one is to surround yourself, to associate yourself with those who put you at a higher level, that make you better. In order to elevate yourself, you need to work with people who are at a higher level than you are. And that's kind of how he felt at Facebook. Everybody was so good, he automatically grew so much in 9 months. Many of the original Facebook employees went on to do great things, and he mentions this in the book, including Steve Chen, who's the co-founder of YouTube. And as many of us know, YouTube was acquired by Google back in 2006 for $1.65 billion. Crazy. So it's very important for you to always be challenged, to feel like you're learning. I can look back at my own career when I was a teacher back in university and high school. When I was 25, I was a manager of over 33 teachers in my department. I had to evaluate 33 different teachers. I was scared out of my mind because I was managing people twice my age. But because I was in management, I was learning from some really great managers, people that were managers for a very long time. In fact, many of my colleagues taught me a lot of things that I use now in my business in management and managing our team. So because I was thrusted in this environment of I have to grow, I have to challenge myself, I automatically was forced to become better. And the same thing goes even as an entrepreneur. Be careful about the circle of friends you have. What are they doing? Are they doing great things? Are they pushing you to do great things? Keep that in mind. The second thing I learned from this book is to keep your ego in check. When Noah was in Facebook, he felt like he was at the top of the world. He's having all these great parties. He's got all this clout because he's working for this amazing startup that's taken over the world. And you thought he was invincible. His ego got the best of him, and he admits that. So no matter where you are in your career or what kind of success you're experiencing, you got to stay humble. You got to remember that things can change. The market could change. Your business can change. Your circumstances can change. I always say if you don't stay humble, you will be humbled. That's just the nature of life. So enjoy the ride, enjoy the success, but at the same time realize that you're still got a long way to go. You still have more to improve in. And even though that you may feel like you're on top now, there's somebody out there that will challenge you, that will compete with you. And you got to be ready for that. And the third major lesson I learned from this book is to embrace your past. Regardless of how rocky it is, and regardless of the mistakes you made, the blemishes you have, nobody's perfect. We all have challenges in our life. We all make choices in our life that maybe are not the best choices. But that's how we learn. And I love the fact that Noah doesn't sweep all that under the rug. He uses it as a learning experience. He uses his mistakes and his failures and his downtime. I say that meaning when he's feeling down, when things are not going up or doing well. He uses those experiences to his benefit. He doesn't let anything go to waste. And he shares it with others. It's a very embarrassing thing that he's sharing, this whole story. But he realizes that by sharing it with others, others can learn. Others can learn from his failures, his experiences. And they also can learn what he learned from them. It's a very vulnerable position, but it's a very honest and transparent position. And I think the more we do that, the more we share of ourselves, the good and the bad, with our audience, you become more relatable to your audience. What you're trying to teach them or sell them becomes more attainable to them. And that's probably the biggest lesson I learned, is just understanding that your past, regardless of the mistakes you made or who you are back then or whatever it was, it's part of the journey that made you who you are today. Regardless of how embarrassing it is, it made you better. And it can make other people better by sharing it. Guys, I got more on today's must-read, but before that, let me give a love to today's sponsor, Google. You might be surprised how many people are looking for your business on Google every day. Not necessarily by name, but by the products and services that your business offers. When people are searching for things, it means they're interested in them. And that's exactly when your business should be there, right in front of them. The good news is it's easy to make it happen. Just run an ad on Google. And you don't have to be a marketing genius. Creating an ad just takes a few minutes. Head on over to g.co/100MBA to learn more. There's even a special offer waiting for you right there. Just go to g.co/100MBA. To wrap up today's must-read by Noah Kagan, How I Lost $170 Million. Sometimes sharing your stories of failure and challenge and difficulty are more effective than sharing success stories. Often our success is measured on how well we can handle the tough times. Because if you can't get through the tough times, you're not going to have the opportunity to be successful. I highly recommend you pick up this book. It's available in paperback and Kindle on Amazon, and we'll put a link in today's show notes. You can find that at 100mba.net/MBA1625. Guys, that wraps up today's Must Read episode. I hope you loved it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, guys, to get all our episodes automatically. With the podcast apps, they only show the latest 300 episodes. So we have over 300 other episodes in the archives that you can check out by hitting subscribe. All right, guys, that's it for me today. But before I go, I want to leave you with this. Some people look at companies like AppSumo and products like SumoMe that Noah has created and say, wow, what an amazing success. This guy's, rocking and rolling, has a great team. But it's always great to see the history behind it. How did somebody like that get there? And it's not always rosy. There's challenges, there's difficulties, there's failures. So if you're having a tough time right now, if you're having challenges right now, understand that that's your rite of passage. We all have difficulties. We all have challenges. I certainly had my share, and I'm sure I still will have my share of challenges in different ways. So keep that in mind as you go through your journey. All right, guys, I'll check you in tomorrow's episode. Take care.